Today we are about to do something which is very different than we tend to do. Whatever we grew, we're bringing inside already. We will dehydrate it. When you have a lot to grow in summer, what you could do is, and what you cannot use, so we will start filling our jars with this. See with us what could be done with dehydrated vegetables. Let's do it.
Hello, universes. You would like to go back and let's be friends together.
Well, hello, universes. Today we are about to do something which is very different than we tend to do. What we are about to do is, whatever we grew, we're bringing inside already. And then from there, we will dehydrate it. And then, why would we dehydrate? When you have a lot to grow in summer, what you could do is, and what you cannot use, instead of throwing it away, you can dehydrate. Whatever we grew outside over here, we didn't have everything. So I did buy certain things from stores. See with us what could be done with dehydrated vegetables. Let's do it. The idea of this video is quite simple. Whatever vegetables towards the end of the season you have coming out of your garden and you do not know what to do with them, this is one of the processes you can go through. Hydrate them. What I did was I started this process already because the process is simple, but having one dehydrator and then having multiple vegetables, it takes longer. How many trays can fit in it or not. What I already did was some cauliflower, some broccoli, some string beans, and then I had some pickles, cucumber pickles, which I made some time ago, and they were a bit too spicy for me to eat. So my thought was just dehydrate them. If I use it part of the cooking, I might be able to tolerate them a bit better. So what are we doing now? We would still not be done with this session because I still have one more run after this. So I've store-bought mushrooms. You have seen my videos. I've tried growing mushrooms multiple times, but I've failed. So these are store-bought mushrooms. I do like the umami of the mushrooms, so that's why they're. I realized with my cauliflower that it made a cup and it didn't look enough. So I had a little bit more sitting. So I'll start with that. But over here, I have peas first. I've got hot water over here and cold water with ice in there. I will blanch these separately each for 1 minute each. Let me tell you, I don't blanch everything. It depends what I'll blanch. I also have celery over here, which I would not. And when we get to it, I'll let you know. But then I have potatoes. I will have butternut squash. I would have sweet potatoes. And I think carrots. There might be a few other things I can't remember. Those I will, because the idea is eventually you'll make a soup out of it. The cooking point of a potato is different than a cooking point of something else. So you have to bring them to the, if you want to say, the same softness. Okay? With these ones which I don't care much, it's more about bringing the flavor together. So here the peas, and as I said, it will be 1 minute each. And as much as I don't go scientific about anything in my life, this is the one I will try to put a timer. So timer is on. I'll move this and I'll move this because I'll use this tray for my peas. The idea will be simple. When the 1 minute mark happens, I'll pour it in this strainer and I'll dump straight into the cold water. What you'll realize with some of the green vegetables, when you go this route, it brings the green color a bit better. I don't have any salt because salt does kill the green color. And the other thing is, when they dry, they do tend to become a bit darker. So having a bit brighter color to start with is a good idea. How long is it? Okay. So 6 seconds, that's long enough. As this goes, I'll go with this now. Some of my cauliflower is too small, so I'll just take it like that and put it on the tray. I'm just putting it next to the mushroom because I don't think I have enough cauliflower. I won't be able to fill a whole tray. I think the mushroom might dry a bit early. I'll just pull it out. Again, a minute. In the meanwhile, this is done. So I'll bring this over. The tray might not be full, but I think I will need it because I also have celery and summer squash. Okay, 1 second and done. Switch it off, switch it off. These are the only two vegetables I wanted to blanch. The others will go straight. As I let this cool down, so summer squash, zucchini, I've peeled it already. I wanted to make cubes, just bite-sized cubes. If you have a machine to do it which does it quicker, you can. I also have but to do 4. I thought it would be quicker just to use a knife compared to take a whole machine out and then wash it. So cauliflower is done. Let me move it next to the mushrooms. So now with this, again, I'll just put this together. So no rocket science, simple method. Just as I said, having too many vegetables, the processing takes longer. And this is why the video will be short, but the amount of time it took for me to do this is in days, not in hours or anything. So zucchini is done. I had 4 of them. It made 2 trays. Make sure that it's a single file. If things will sit on each other, they would not dry properly. So just go around fixing it. Last, I don't know if it will be last or not. Now I have celery. So if you look at these celery stalks, you'll say they're not huge as what you find in a store. That is fine. This is homegrown. And what happened was, our fall, we didn't have enough rain. It did not become as big or thick as it could. So that's one reason. But the other thing is, I'm not too worried about it. Actually, it's a better way to do this compared to, this is not really edible. Like, you would not enjoy eating it, but this will contain a lot of celery flavor. So by the time it dries out and you put it in the soups, you would not, actually you'd appreciate this better than the store-bought kind or the one which really looks like thick stalks. So again, I will use the greens also. Greens do make a bit of a mess in the dehydrator, that they start going everywhere, but you just have to be careful. But the flavor of celery leaves, I always appreciate. Even if something gets this big, don't worry about it. So let's put them here. It will be a bit different because these are leaves, they dry differently, but they do dry very quickly. So don't worry about it if I'm bunching them together. Okay, so I got altogether 4 trays. My dehydrator can carry 9, but especially with this height and some of those, it would not be able to. I'll go and put these in my dehydrator. I want to see if I can do 1 more tray. I'm not sure right now. So let me go and put this in the dehydrator. If I'm able to, I have some bell pepper and some Mad Hatter pepper sitting, which I want to do if there is space. So let me go and put this in the dehydrator. So I went ahead, cut the bell pepper and the Mad Hatter, did the cold bath the way I showed you. The other thing I wanted to show you, I dried these red onions. So this is 10 pounds of fresh red onion. By the time it dried out, it was a bit over a pound. Again, it brings the flavor together. The next thing I'm about to do is meat. I don't have space in my dehydrator right now, so I'll do it differently. So let me go ahead and put it here. As I'm putting this, I've got parchment paper in the bottom on a regular baking tray. This was total 2 pounds of beef, boneless beef. I already have done one tray, and this is second one. This for a week sat in soya sauce, and then towards the end I put some of my homemade hot sauce in it. Not too much, just so I can get a bit of flavor to it. Okay, now what? So this is ready. Let me wash my hands. The way I'm about to do these 2 trays of beef is a bit different. I'm about to do it in my oven. Many people will argue that whatever I'm doing, I'm wasting too much energy. I'll explain something. I'm in fall right now. It's winter outside. I've got my heating on. Using some of these extra appliances, it's keeping my house warm also. So it's not just that I'm doing that. I have an oven which is both conventional and convection. The lowest heat it can go to is 150. I'll put it on 150. I will put the fan on so it becomes a convection oven. I'll pry the door open a bit because I want the temperature around 125, 130 degrees also over here, Fahrenheit. So depending on every few hours, I might let it close for a few and then open it for a half an hour or something. So that's my hope. I'm hoping that this beef will dry in 6 to 8 hours. I have done jerky before, but I've done that in dehydrator and do not remember how long it takes. So I'm doing it after a very long time. So the oven is at 150 with the fan on. My trays won't fit this way. So one on this one and one on the lower one. Or I can go even to this one. For the starts, I'll leave. So from there, I'll see how it goes. So we have 4 or 5 vegetables going in the dehydrator. 2 or 3 already done. A few more to go. Beef. So by the time we're done, I think we'll have at least a dozen different vegetables and beef. And I'll show you what I do with the beef. And keep on watching till the end because I will store the beef a bit differently than what I'll do to the vegetables. Okay, a few days of work. And that's what we've been able to do. So let's introduce you to everything. This is red onion, potatoes, different colors, different kinds from our backyard. Carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, sweet potatoes, sweet peppers. It's mostly few bell pepper, but Mad Hatter. Some spicy peppers that I'll see how I use them. Celery leaves and stalk. Mushrooms. Turnip. Summer squash or zucchini. On top you have peas sitting. Beans. Pickled cucumber. Butternut squash. Beef. And some store-bought elbow macaroni. So we will start filling our jars with this. So what did we do in the end? We dried the beef. We made 5 packets out of it. We started with roughly 2 pounds of beef, small cubes, dried. I put them in bags. The reason is simple that even though I've made jerky before and it sits on room temperature, I just didn't want to risk it. So it will go in the freezer just to be safe. I can risk it, but no reason to. What else did I do? So if you look over here, these are 1.5 cup of soup mixes. It has onion in the bottom in all of those jars. Then some macaroni, the elbow macaroni kind, and then randomly all the vegetables which are dried. Each jar is a bit different than the other. That said, I was left with a lot of potatoes because I did a lot of potatoes. So what I did was I did this in a bigger jar. And what it has is really onion and potatoes. I can make potato soup, cream of potato, you name it. 9 jars of soups, 1.5 cups each, then this huge jar of potatoes, 5 packets of dried beef. So this is what we got. The whole exercise was not about that it's cheap. The whole exercise was not about that it's complex. The exercise is very simple. The only thing is that it takes a lot of time. My dehydrator can take 9 trays, as I mentioned earlier, but you cannot always fit 9 trays because some of the things are bigger, so it doesn't fit. 4 to 5 trays, generally speaking, at a time. So with almost a dozen vegetables, it took me a few days because I could do so many at a day. And then you prep the next one and go with this one, with the next one. The vegetables which are the softer kind, I just blanch them for a minute. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, things of that nature, I blanch them for 2 minutes because I wanted to cook them a bit. So by the time I put them in a crock pot or even on a stove, in any kind of a broth and it cooks, by the time my macaroni is cooked, everything else should be cooked. That's the reason behind it. So even with the beef, even it's a bit chewy, what you could do is do the broth first, do the beef next, and then after a little bit, 10-15 minutes in a crock pot, like for probably half an hour, but if you're in a stove, 10-15 minutes or 5 minutes probably, throw this in 10-15 minutes, the food is done. A lot of food for the winter. As I said, having a small family, 1 jar is 1 meal, 9 jars, and then the 10th one. So 10 meals. If I have more people, I can use 2. Still a lot of food, a lot of soups for the winter, and everything has different flavor. And one thing which always happens to me, whatever I do during the summer, and when I open those things, even drying the herbs or doing my own peppers and stuff like that, I can almost smell my hands, that the hard work which went into it. So it's just such a satisfying feeling. As I picked these, I hope you saw something new, you learned something new. Try doing it. I know you will appreciate it. Whatever experience you go through, share with us. And if you made any mistake, talk to us and we'll try to not do it next time around. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching our channel, my friend Bob. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.